All right, everybody. Thanks for being here tonight. It's Tuesday, February 21st, second commissioner meeting for February. And I'd like to thank everybody for being here. We have all the commissioners in place. Town attorney's here. Awesome. Town manager's here. Awesome. Town assistant manager Niles here. Town engineer John Strong. Thanks for being here. And the rest of our lovely audience. Don't let the camera pan over to see how many people are here tonight. So glad everybody's here, and we're going to get into business. Jeff, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good man. Good man. Thank you, Jeff. Who wants to go first with announcements? Who's ready? Who can I call on?
Sure, I'll go ahead and get started. Let's get started.
Jeff's ready?
Oh, you can.
Sorry, Ed?
All right.
Ed's up.
So just want to give this a nice shout out to the residents of Poolsville who helped with the graveyard cleanup. So I got out there. Chuck Copeland, Pastor Copeland, gave a nice overview just about some of the history in, I believe it's Martinsburg, right outside of Poolsville. And we went and we did a cleanup at a grave site where you had African Americans had been there, large grave site, just cleaning up over there near Caleva. And so it was really nice to see so many residents from Poolsville outside and pitching in. You really get that true sense of community. And I think Link did a good job of mobilizing people as well to get out there and clean up. And so other than
That's
that,
great.
that's my announcement.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And I heard that Glenn Wallace was there with his husband and was talking about, if you guys get a chance to talk to Glenn Wallace at any length, you should do that, because the Monocacy Cemetery that he has done the work on is one of the most documented cemeteries in the country. So it's just an amazing job. You go to the website and check it out. It's super cool. Sarah, what you got for us?
I was just going to announce the mural competition that was sent around for grades 6 through 12, sponsored by Riverworks and the Up County Prevention Network. They've got a first, second, and third place cash prize, and they're looking for art that focuses on the value that history, knowing our history, brings to life today.
Cool. Where's the mural going to be? What's happening
I
there?
don't think they've selected a place yet, is my understanding.
Too many
I think it's kind of like, we're going to show you how cool these are, and then the businesses are going to fight over where they go. Yeah.
Wait till they run into our regulations. That's right. Anyway, no, I'm sure we're looking forward to working with them, and that's going to be great. So thank you for telling us about that. I appreciate it. Martin, anything?
I don't have anything. You'll cover the meeting with Brooks in your manager report, I assume? Okay.
Great. Thank you for that. Jeff?
Just a couple things. First, the Upper Montgomery County Volunteer Fire Station had a very successful bull and oyster roast on February the 17th, and thank you very much for all the folks that came out and enjoyed the fabulous food and camaraderie and all that. So it worked out really well. Hopefully we'll do another one, because it had been a couple of years since we had done it previously. Also, myself as a CPR instructor, we are giving a CPR training class for the Poolsville seniors on March the 3rd, and we're working with Mr. Bill McDonald at the Poolsville Seniors Club. Also, on March 9th March 16th is Historic Ag Reserve Properties, again with Kenny Scholes, and you can register for that also on the Poolsville Seniors Club website. There's a number of other things taking place. There's movie night with the movie called A Man Called Otto. I think that's, who's the star in that? It's, Tom Hanks, thank you, of course. How could I forget his name? That's on March the 24th. And also there's a very interesting discussion about naval medicine during the Civil War. So if you're interested in some rather primitive tactics and register for that. Also upcoming, again, talking a little bit more about CPR training classes. And the Upper Montgomery County Volunteer Fire Department is scheduling several, what I call citizen training classes during the month of April. I think in the month of April and also stretching into May a little bit. So watch on the Poolsville Community Facebook and then click the link and you'll be able to register for one of those dates. So that's it. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. I'm used to everybody just, zeroing in. Yeah. Oh, see, okay, good. We didn't want them to know about the Magruder meeting anyway. No, what it came down to was, yeah. We had attended the Heart and Soul dinner, which was, dance, which was awesome. And,
I wish I could have done.
that's okay. They're I think as well as they did on it, they'll be back. And then the seniors also, of course, tackled me on making sure that we could reserve the main banquet hall at Crossvines to do this again. So I said, I will have no pull on that, but we'll do the best we can for them. But that should be super elegant. They did a great job, and they do a great job every year with that. Last but not least, so Link and I, through Fair Access and really just in an overall kind of startup initiative, have been investing in co-ops, food co-ops, something similar to the Common Market in Frederick. These are full-fledged grocery stores. It was started out with me going to Lovettsville and be completely embarrassed that they have a beautiful full-size co-op there with half our population and 2/3 of our median family income, and yet they're building this unbelievable building there that's going to be spectacular. So we have dug into speaking to the people that are working on the co-op, and they are having a board meeting this Thursday night, which I won't be here for, but Link is going to, as well as a couple from Poolsville that has expressed interest in learning more and potentially becoming part of the operation of it if we were able to get the ball rolling. It's going to definitely have to have somebody that would headman it. It's not us. It's not us. It's not Link. It's not, Kevin. It's not you guys. It's just not, it's not something, it's a full-time job. So we're getting into seeing what it takes to potentially bring a co-op to Poolsville. Very, very preliminary. A lot of opportunity for Poolsville residents and citizens to get involved. And for all the people who want a grocery store, they'll get a chance to put their money where their mouth is because it's reliant on membership. So it's a co-op. So we're going to learn more as time goes on, and I'll keep everybody in the loop of what we're doing. No official actions taken. We're not obligating in any way, shape, or form. It's just learning right now. That's it for me. All right, very good. So to our committee reports, Martin, are you good for telling us about the Planning Commission?
Indeed, I am. We met last Wednesday, and not a ton to talk about. The big news I shared with you guys is that guy Kevin Tram is leaving after his term is done in April. So we will miss him. I was going to tell you that it's not anything. According to Kevin, it was just his schedule was too busy. It's nothing personal or,
It's not you.
That's what he says anyway. So really the big thing on the agenda last week was the comprehensive plan, as it always is. And we had a new chapter 3 of the comprehensive plan, which we reviewed thoroughly. Everyone gave a bunch of good feedback. Kevin had some good feedback, even though he wasn't in attendance. He emailed some great feedback. We looked at housing details and maps for the comprehensive plan. Wallace Montgomery had a work session with town staff before the meeting and got a lot done apparently. And I asked the question again, are we still on schedule for May or June? And the answer was yes. I mean, it could slip, but like we're moving through it pretty quickly now. And I think it should be a good product. So that's what I have.
Thanks, Martin. So you guys, you dismissed Kevin? Is that, I didn't get the,
Technically, my term expires in April.
I see. Okay, good.
So I just elected 8 years?
Right, long enough.
Yeah,
Are you staying till the end of your term then?
I reckon. Because you guys put out an ad for a new person. And all
Well, Wade will talk about that in his town manager report, but thanks for letting us know. And Kevin, this will be one of many times, but thank you so much for your service. It's been amazing. You've had a nice run. So thank you.
Done a great job.
Yeah. Wonderful job.
How many different things were you in, like Poolsville Day, Planning Commission,
Fair Access Committee.
Fair Access, yeah, so.
that. Church bell choir, church trustees.
The bell choir, you just have one bell to ring. Come on. It's not like a big deal.
One bell to ring. Okay, that's great. Ed, can you give us whatever part of fair access and sustainable Poolsville?
Sure. All right, so Sustainable Poolsville, we'll meet tomorrow. And so that's where we all give updates at the next meeting. After that, in terms of fair access, there's always a lot of good things going on. At our last meeting, we had representative from Delegate Kwai's team came over and just wanted to learn more about what we were doing in terms of with the wellness. There was interest in wellness centers and that advocacy. And then we have an event coming up on March 1st with the president of Montgomery College. He wants to learn more about the Up County. And so we have Greg. We all know Greg Wims. So he'll be there. Sarah and I will be there in attendance as well. I think we'll hear some more later on about some of the requests for fair access. And so, Sarah, anything that you want to add about fair access?
Yeah. So Link and Jim already met with Marilyn Balcom, was it 2 weeks ago? But she sent a message with a commitment to push for funding for the wellness center and the gym in the fiscal year 24 budget, so that's exciting. We also have in the works a meeting with Council President Evan Glass in the next 2 weeks. The committee that was formed by the county to address or to work towards reopening White's Ferry, which includes David Fraser Hidalgo, is in the process of scheduling a meeting with the Maryland State Department of Transportation. So hopefully that is another push in the right direction. And in addition to the movement on that front, My MC Media and WAMU both are creating specials on White's Ferry that include some of the shots from the rally and interviews with people here in Poolsville, like Jim, Ed, Chuck Copeland, Tom Kettler, Link, Jim, myself. And we are trying to do a better job as a committee in helping our county council, but also just residents of Poolsville and the rest of the county understand what Fair Access Committee is, what we do. And so Foundry, the PR company that we work with, is putting together a short video clip to help kind of illuminate what we've accomplished and highlight what we're working towards. And Link said in the next couple days we should have a copy of that to start looking at. That's it.
Very good. Thank you for that, Sarah. Ed, did you want to finish up with anything on sustainable Poolsville?
No, Sustainable Poolsville, we're just going to meet tomorrow, so there's nothing at this time.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
Thank you for that. Jeff?
Thank you, Jim. So I have just a few things, really. At the last Parks Board meeting, we kind of reaffirmed what was going to be on the budget for fiscal year 23, I think it is, Niles? Yeah. 24, thanks, Niles. Also, you may have heard that we have been talking about a bouldering park, and we received a nice letter, see if I can find it here real quick, from what's it called here? The Potomac Appalachian Trail Club Mountaineering Section to express their enthusiasm for the proposal to establish a, pardon me, bouldering park in Poolsville. And you may remember that we also had received a similar letter of support from the American Alpine Club. And we have our next Parks Board meeting, I believe it's on March the 8th. And I believe they're both of those organizations are invited to either by Zoom or in person to come and kind of help us figure out what it might look like. We also have a gentleman who lives here in Poolsville, Frank Velez, and he's the gentleman that got us in touch with these two organizations. And Frank Velez lives, like I say, lives here in Poolsville. He's a climbing instructor or some kind of, I don't know if I got that exactly right. Just in addition to that, we're also working on the naming of the tot lot in Westerly Grove, and I have to say that, oh, pardon me, I need to get a drink of water. I went over to the tot lot in the new Westerly Grove subdivision, and it is gorgeous. It's beautiful. And all credit goes to Preston and his crew. I hope I get it right for his crew because it just looks beautiful.
You do the slides?
I wouldn't quite fit up the little ladder. So, no, it's really, really nice. And also, we're talking about the possibility for lights at Stevens Park. That's one of the things in the budget. And then we're also, obviously, put lights in a park. You need to get some feedback from the local residents. So that's what we're up with the Parks Board. Our next meeting is on March the 8th. Thank you.
Great. Jeff, any questions? Jeff, thanks for hustling back here today for your plane flight. Appreciate it. That was good of you. Yeah, you did a good job. Sarah has one more thing for fair access.
Thank you, Jim. In one of the things that we're working on as the Fair Access Committee is to help raise awareness of, or at least get, county support for some, especially historical sites that have been kind of neglected. And one of those really important sites is the Rosenwald School that is located back where the beauty spot is and has been used by the Department of Transportation as a storage and office facility. But there aren't any historical markers there right now. So Link and Jim have drafted a fantastic letter to the county executive, Mark, encouraging them to begin by placing a marker of some kind so that we can at least acknowledge the significant sacrifice and contribution of the residents of Jerusalem who contributed $700, which in the 1930s and 1940s was a lot of money. And so we want to make sure that we begin by recognizing that contribution to the community. And hopefully that will be an opening path to some better sort of restoration and maintenance of that building.
Thank you for that. Yeah, crack the door open first, and then we rebuild the building. That sounds good. Appreciate it. Start with a sign. All right, very good. Thanks for that, everybody. Thanks for all your reports. Very encompassing. Good job. Did we have anybody sign up today? Bailiff? Who can it be that's in here? Okay, you guys are going to come up during your time period. Thank you for that. Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Good job. All right, nobody online looking for us, gents? Nope. All right, operating the vacuum tonight. Approval of the minutes. I need to have an approval for the minutes for the February 6th meeting. I need a motion.
A motion we approve the minutes for the February 6th meeting.
Motion made by Martin, second.
Second, the
Second
motion?
by Sarah. Very good. Any questions, changes? Anything that's concerning? Nope. All those in favor of approving the minutes for February 6, 2023 as moved, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? No one? Great. Thank you. Under old business, the Upper Montgomery County Volunteer Fire Department fireworks budget amendment. Wade.
Yeah, so the last evening, we had a budget request from Scott Graham from Montgomery County Fire Department. And the request was for a $30,000 over a 3-year increment. So he wanted a couple things. currently we have a $13,500 line item. And typically that would be in the FY '24, but they need to go ahead and make their commitment and arrangements and funding like at the end of February, which is coming up quick. That's why this is on the agenda now for a budget amendment. So we would want to add $16,500 to account 570, just to increase it to $30,000 if you want to go that way. And then also, we do have a draft MOU that Jay's working on with them. And if we just get the commitment from you guys for us to go ahead and follow through, complete the MOU for a 3-year period, so for FY '24 and FY '25, $30,000 each. That's where we are.
Thank you for that, Wade. Jay, do you have enough of a, did you get enough of a draft MOU out of them today to be able to put this
Today.
together?
Right, we got it today.
Today.
So I got the gist of it. It's not quite where we need it to be, but it's.
It feels
you know,
like it's something
for
you
your
can work
purposes,
with.
it does what we wanted to do, and
Okay.
then you pay me to put all the worry provisions in.
Exactly. That's what we're planning on you doing. That's good. All right. Thanks for that, Wade. Thanks for that, Jay. So Wade sent over the language for this for anybody that wants to take a stab at it in the email that he put together. So I need someone to make a motion, and then there's two, correct? Two amendments. So we're going to be, the first one is going to be to increase the line item for the fireworks in account 570 from $13,500 to $30,000. Quite an increase. And then the second motion will be to commit to funding the fireworks in FY '24 and '25 at $30,000 each year and direct staff to develop an MOU to capture this moment. Just a reminder from everybody, they came in and testified about this. Their costs are dramatically higher for their fireworks this year. They do use a quality group that to make the fireworks happen. Nobody wants to see an Ocean City or Ocean City Part 2 take place here, where they either get canceled or they blow up prematurely. The guys they have are really good guys, and there wasn't the inclination to make the show smaller in order to cut the fees back, and there wasn't an inclination by the fire department, who we're very grateful for putting this together, to go with a cheaper unit. So that's why we are where we are with this number.
And I'm assuming that, because I don't know the budget as well, that we have the funds in our budget to make this increase.
So, go ahead, Wade, you can give it to it.
Yes, there's adequate
I'm
funds.
assuming, Wade, you've checked
Yes,
that already.
yes.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
actually drafted into the FY '24 budget as an amendment.
Already. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, so translation, yeah, we got the money and we think it's worth it so
Yeah.
far. And with the group, I would think so as well.
Yeah, I think this is worth it.
Yeah,
I'll go
I
ahead
do
and make
too.
a motion to increase the line item fireworks in account 570 from $13,500 to $30,000.
Martin's made a motion to increase the line item of fireworks in account number 570 from $13,500 to $30,000. Do I have a second on that motion?
I'll second that motion.
Second from Sarah on that motion. Is there any other questions on that? Jeff?
Well, I need your help, Jay. So I'm very much involved with the fireworks, I'm very much involved with the fire station, so I want to abstain?
Yeah,
so you'll Recuse?
just announce that you're recusing. I mean, you just did, but
Okay.
you're recusing yourself, and then when the vote comes, you'll be the last vote. For
Yeah, I don't want any perception of conflict of interest there. Thank you.
Okay, very good. So thank you for the clarification on your status there, Jeff. Appreciate that. So we have a motion by Martin. We have a second by Sarah. Also, all those in favor of increasing the line item fireworks in account number 570 from $13,500 to $30,000, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstaining?
I'm abstaining.
Okay, gotcha. I leaned your way. All right, very good. Motion number one's been passed. Do we have a second motion?
Yeah,
second
I'm,
Oh, Jeff?
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, you could-
I motion we
Second.
commit to funding the fireworks in FY '24 and '25 at $30,000 each year, and direct staff to develop an MOU to capture this commitment.
Martin's made a motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah, I second the motion.
Second from Ed. Any other questions on the motion or the second or the text of the motion? Nope. All those in favor of the motion as stated by Martin, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Anybody abstain?
I abstain again.
Jeff abstains again. Motion passes 4-0-1. All right, thanks for that. Thanks for the background. Thanks for working with the guys on that, Jay. Appreciate it. All right, very good. New business. Poolsville Day grant request. Here he comes again. He can't leave soon enough.
I don't know if you got an electronic copy yet.
Hello, my name is Kevin Schramm. I'm here representing the Poolsville Day Committee. First off, thank you, commissioners, for all your continued support, and thank you, Town of Poolsville staff, most notably Preston King and Kathy Bupp, for their support they provide to our committee. We have a committee of 20 dedicated, hardworking volunteers. Still not enough. The work Kathy and Preston do is outstanding and shows off by the great day. I provided the budget for you. Poolsville Day last year cost about $55,000 to put on. As you'll see, all the different fees, the lion's shares of those fees are the rides and the tents and the various portable stages. This year, that's going to come to about $27,000. A couple things we learned. So last year, we were a new board. So we learned some things. We're going to do some things differently a little bit, not too much. We're going to try to have a more focused campaign on donations, try to build up sponsorships, try to increase that revenue. Last year I made a mistake. I only did a vendor form instead of a separate food vendor form. So we didn't get as much money from food vendors as we should have. But lesson learned. We will have two forms with two different pricings this year. So we'll have a little more revenue than we had last year. We had some pretty good investments. I don't know if last year, if you noticed, the ag display was enhanced. We spent about $4,000 on new panels and other stuff that we can use every year. We purchased new tents. The only other big item I see in our budget this year, aside from usual cost, is a new banner that goes over Fisher Avenue. Preston was complaining about the old banner. He had to unwind it every couple days because the wind was tossing it. So we went ahead and threw that away. Kathy and I worked on the shed, cleaned it out a few weeks ago, and we went ahead and made the decision to throw that away. In the sheet you can see pretty much everything we spend our money on. If you have any questions, let me know.
So what is the request?
Oh, for $35,000 contribution.
Is it,
Will this be added to the fiscal year '24 budget?
We will be talking about this in our discussions when we have our work session on March 11th.
Right. Yeah, I know I have.
But yes,
the-
it's on the list of all the grants we've received.
Okay, so well, thank you.
is the trash pickup like there's a big giant bin and you have
No,
a trash
so
company
Titus
come-
does. On Thursday morning, they'll drop, 100 cans maybe, all along Fisher Avenue.
Okay,
5 o'clock when Poolsville Day's done, they come by and empty them all
okay.
and then load them all up.
And do you have volunteers that kind of like sweep the grounds?
Yes,
Who-
the Boy
who does that
Scouts
part? Boy
sweep the
Scouts do.
grounds the
Okay.
following day.
Yeah, that was my question. Okay.
And we have, during the day, the high school ecology club carry around recycling bins and also help
Yeah.
clean up during the day.
Fantastic.
Okay, you guys, do you have any questions for Kevin? Appreciate the presentation, Kevin, and also too, your all's rookie year and your rookie board's year last year.
Yeah.
You pulled it off nicely.
Thanks.
It's a hell of a day that requires a lot of flexibility and hard work. Again, Kathy and Preston are just, the linchpins for this entire thing, plus you and the volunteer network.
Yep.
You do a heck of a job. It's our most important day. It's our day to shine, and we don't have anything bigger than that. So we really appreciate you make it seem easy, but that's a lot of weight. You're carrying the weight of the town on your shoulders for, not just that day, but for the whole year.
Oh, we have a
So,
good committee and every.
How many volunteer, do you know how many volunteers you had in addition to like the committee?
So we have
like
20.
day of?
So we have a board.
Yeah,
We're made of a president, vice president, Kathy Bassett, our secretary, and our treasurer.
Yeah.
Then we have subcommittees. the EV car show, the antique car show. This year, we're forming a new committee called Vendor Committee, because that's a huge responsibility and takes a lot of
There's like food
communication.
trucks and so on,
What's that?
food trucks and whatnot.
Yeah, food trucks and all that. We have a committee for signage. We have a committee for someone responsible for the porta potties, someone responsible for the bands, someone responsible for the main stage entertainment, a committee responsible for parades. And then on the day of, we have just day of volunteers.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, like day
So we
of
have people that help
volunteers.
with check-in, that help with crowd control, with,
Okay.
with safety and security. I would say we have about 50 day of volunteers.
That's great.
So- And this day wouldn't be possible without the continued support of our local organizations, like every church, every year showing up a booth, every food vendor, every local.
Fire department provides EMS support.
Yes, which was needed last year
Certainly
on several occasions.
We were chasing-
Yeah, you guys were busy.
Yeah,
I
they
know,
were.
everybody's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were busy.
But it worked out. It's a great day.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
That's
guys do a
great.
great job, Kevin, so
awesome.
good luck with that. You know, we had, we've been having some conversations with the tourism board, as you know, part of our fair access direction, and there was some thought about, I know that the EV show, just like the car show that I did for many years before that, and, you know, the car show that as it exists now, about potentially turning those into standalone events. And I didn't know if that, you felt like that would be harmful to Poolsville Day
Yes.
if we did. Okay,
I like having EV show and Poolsville Day together.
okay. Good. Well,
That's just my opinion.
No, but your opinion counts. Yeah, you know, we're looking at,
And I think the EV car show needs Poolsville Day.
probably does. But we're just looking at different ways to accentuate our current asset position, and that's an asset position. You know, you guys are always gonna be, Poolsville Day is always gonna be
Yeah.
what it is. But if some of the events could be standalone, then that's something that we, you know, potentially want to explore, bounce off, see what other communities do, et cetera. But I'm fine with leaving it as it is. It was just throwing it out there.
Yeah.
I
And we
think,
could
you
do-
know, as I remember, you know, you need anchors.
Yes,
that's an
ex-
anchor.
Exactly. And to that point, I thank you guys for meeting with, was it Visit Montgomery Link? To get us on their calendar. Because, you know, I don't think we were getting noticed in the county press,
Yeah.
you know, and on their calendar events. It'll help getting,
As I said, we're putting together a comprehensive list that they're going to get, and then
Yeah.
we're going to expect to see it on there.
Yeah.
So it's somebody's going to probably think that Poolsville took over the Visit Montgomery website
That's
when we
right.
get done. So, but thank you for that. I appreciate the event, appreciate the presentation of the budget. We have our budget work session in March, and I'm sure you're going to be in good shape.
all right, cool, thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions, you guys?
No, good job, Kevin.
Nope,
Yeah,
yeah,
appreciate
thank you,
it.
Kevin.
Keep up the good work, buddy.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Can't quit that. No. All right, just making sure. All right, very good. What's that?
It's a little more, the meetings are a little more fun than planning.
I hear you. Oh, now that's, yeah.
Cool.
All right, very good. So Link's going to put down his pen from the monocle and then come up and talk to us about.
Objective report on what I said.
Right, yeah, please. Take your own notes on your own statement. See you, Kevin.
He was tremendous.
Yeah, Link did a hell of a job. Fair Access Proposed Budget Annual Report presentation by Chairman, Fair Access Chairman Link Hoey.
Thank you. I think you've all gotten a copy of the budget already proposal, so I just wanted to give you a few overarching remarks about the committee and what we do, and I think some of the challenges we're facing that explain the budget. We're asking for a $95,000 budget for the coming fiscal year. When we started for Fair Access the first year, in 2018, we actually had an $80,000 budget, so it's a little bit bigger, but not a lot when you think about the amount of cost increases, but also the kind of challenges we're facing. The key to the success of the committee has been community engagement and maintaining a continuing presence before the county and state officials. The recent rally at White's Ferry is a perfect example of what community engagement looks like. And thanks to the support of this commission and our community supporters, we've achieved a great deal, including a new high school and rebuilding of the which will go with it, the gym and the wellness center. But even with that success, the project has required us to continue to press the county because they initially did not want to include an expanded gym in our school. They didn't want to put the wellness center in either. They wanted to wait until construction was over, which doesn't make sense fiscally, and it also doesn't make sense from an equity standpoint. So we pushed on those really hard, and as Sarah said tonight, Marilyn Balcom is going to go to the council and try to get them to put money in the FY24 budget so that it actually gets spent and started the construction this coming year rather than to wait. So it's just an example of what you have to continue to do with the Fair Access Committee to keep things rolling. In addition, we face an expanded council. In the past, we only had 9 members to work with, and we actually knew all of them really well because we've been dealing with them for quite a few years. Now, we have 6 new members. We didn't know any of them well except Marilyn Balcom. And we have now 11 members instead of 9 to face, so we've got a lot more work to do to expand our presence. And beyond that, to get a majority of the council, you now need 6 people rather than 5, so we've got a little more work to do there too. Our priorities in large part remain the same in the coming year as they have in the past, but we've got a lot more work to do because we've got to educate new members as to what our priorities are. They don't know most of them. We've started that process with Marilyn Balcom, and as Sarah mentioned tonight, the Evan Glass, who's the president of the council, has agreed to try to get us before the entire council with his committee called the T&E Committee, and let us brief the entire council, which is a pretty significant thing that they don't usually do that. So if we get to do that, it'll be a major move forward for us. As outlined in the budget proposal, there are key items we'll be working in the coming year. Work to protect the funding for Poolesville High School. Believe it or not, even though we have the funding, the budget process is going to be pretty tight this year. And we know from past years that other schools have actually lost money during the budget battles, so we don't want that to happen to Poolesville High School. We're going to need to keep focusing on that. Also on the gym to make sure it does get expanded. We haven't seen a final design yet. And until we see that, and until they've committed funding, we're not going to be satisfied. Same thing with the Wellness Center. We also need to engage the Western County and the community in promoting the needs of our area by effective communication, supporting informative events like the rally, which I think actually was an educational thing for a lot of people, but also educated our council members at the same time. And we need to make sure we bring them out here as much as we can and not just go down there. So part of what you'll see in our budget is efforts to get them to come out here for the Pools at 8 breakfast. We had a great holiday event last year on December 10th, and we got, I think, 10 people out here, council members, delegates, even Mark Elbridge came, so it was a very successful event. But that's an example of how we try to get them out here as much as possible. Promote county funding to place a bubble over the swimming pool. We just saw the swimming team the other night here, and I talked to them afterwards. They're really excited about getting that done, so that's another priority. Promote the reopening of White's Ferry and improvements in White's Ferry, which, as you may know, the 2021 report that the county here did and the Loudoun County did together actually didn't just talk about reopening the ferry. It also said there's major improvements on both sides of the ferry in terms of the roadway, the electronics for the ferry that need to be made. So that's more spending in the future we have to try to tie down. Push for funding to design and build the community center. We have the design underway. It should be finished this spring, but we now need to get them to commit to the spending for that. And it could be a very expensive proposition, so it's not going to be easy to get that money. And then finally, and this is new, but I think it's important, the more we meet with people like Visit Montgomery, and the more we talk to council members, the more we realize they don't really still understand how this area works, economically, socially, or from a business standpoint. So we're trying to promote a new understanding of, and Jim calls it the hub and spoke, but basically it's the idea that Poolesville actually has a lot of services and facilities that help people in this area, but around it are things that people visit, people come to see and come to enjoy, and that's how our economy works. And if we didn't have that, our economy wouldn't survive, and which is why White's Ferry is fundamentally important. I can't thank all of you enough for the vision and support you have given us. I can't thank Sarah and Ed enough for their work. They've come on the commission and really hit the ground running. Sarah's already done a couple interviews and did a great job. I also need to acknowledge the hard work and support of the committee members, and Kevin was one who was here tonight. And most importantly, the community. We have done a lot with them through the email systems, and we've done a lot with the rally that shows you that they do care about it, and they will respond when they're asked to help. So that was a key to our success. So that's it. Thank you.
Very good link. Questions?
Oh, I just a quick
Go ahead, Jeff.
question. Well, what is, I heard different things about the status of the of the gym? Has it been reoriented and expanded as we?
It's going to be, today, when you go in the gym, it's basically facing this way. It's going to be actually turned, the other direction. But they're also going to expand it, so now it'll be 104 feet wider and about
Wider.
4 feet longer.
Oh, okay.
As well, it will also have a weight room with an
Okay.
exercise piece to it, as well as a
Right.
full wrestling room.
Okay.
All of which put us on a pretty much comparable footing to other high schools.
Okay.
We'll, I think, have 12 bleachers, to give you an example of, on both sides of how big the gym will be.
Okay. Wow, that's great. Is that, and that kind of check marks or ticks the boxes that you were asking for?
It wasn't just, we always consult with other people when we do this, and so we spent a lot of time with both the principal, the
All
PTA,
right.
and also Gina,
Yes.
who's the athletic director, and when she said, "I'm happy with this,"
Oh,
we're happy with
Oh,
it.
great, okay.
We don't just rely on our own, because we're not experts at this.
Sure, yep.
Gina's input has been, half the time, it takes us a little while to figure out even what we're looking at. And then the county knows it, by the back of their hand. But Gina's input has helped us, has helped the county recognize and led us to help use our advocacy to get them to go where they gotta go. And it's not without cost.
Oh, sure.
The budget's increased, and I think they're leveraging slightly less construction costs too, to try and get us to where we gotta go. But yeah, it's been a good ride.
Now, one more question for Link. So, is it the community center or is it a wellness center or both?
The community center will hopefully have a clinic space built into it,
I see.
which would be for healthcare services of various kinds for the
Okay.
community.
Right.
The wellness center, it depends on the school, but in many wellness centers, they also allow the families of students to use the wellness center, because they not only provide mental health services, but even
Right.
basic medical service. So, but they will be separate. The wellness center will be separate from the community center.
Will it be on the same property as the high school?
Yeah, right now, the plan is, now, we don't know this because they haven't specified yet where they will locate the community center, but we propose co-location, and MCPS has identified property on the school property where they could co-locate the community center.
Okay. Then, not too long ago, we had the ladies doing the POR.
Yeah.
Is that, they're working on the same project?
That's the community center.
That is
The
the community
POR is essentially looking at the needs for the community and what
Right.
the structure ought to include in terms of programming and space.
Right.
It won't actually have a design, that'll be farther down the road.
Are we, do we have the funding for the community center as well?
No, that's what I mentioned. One of the things we got to fight for in the next couple of years, and the budget's going to be tight. I know we had a lot of pandemic funding, we had a lot of infrastructure funding that came through the system. The education system this year has quite a bit of money because the state got still a lot of money from the federal government, but that's beginning to ease back. And so in the next couple of years, we're going to see a lot of fights. Just to give you an example of what happened, in our budget fight for the high school, 2 years ago when we finally get the money, we know now, and I knew a little bit of it, but I didn't know the details until I talked to Andrew Friedson about this in detail. But in the battles that you don't see behind closed doors when they're negotiating the budget details, there was efforts to cut the school budget for high school, Poolesville High School again, even though we thought we had it. That's what happens. It's people, they all have projects. They all want to fund them, so we've got to keep the pressure on and not let that happen.
The fact that we had the POR for the community center, does that give us an inch up or a leg up in any way?
Yes. They have a list of projects. There's about 14 right now, and one this year got funded. Damascus has I think it's a library or a senior center they were trying to get redone. That was in that list of PORs, and it got built this year, or
Okay.
funded this year.
Okay.
They can't do anything until the POR is complete. So to get on the POR list and funding for the POR is an intent to potentially take it forward, yeah. Then we just need more advocacy and more fighting. Anybody else? Anything
Yeah,
for Link?
Definitely, and what I wanted to
Yeah.
share is, from what I've watched over the last few years, well, since I've been doing the last couple of years being a commissioner, and just things that I would hear and conversations I would have before I got more active in Poolesville, was the advocacy and the way some of the advocacy have been done in the past. And just watching, what's happening now, I really see those relationships being forged in such a way where Poolesville is getting a lot of respect, and also it's some of those things that happen behind the scenes where you might have work with county council members, work with school board members, work with school leadership. So when the advocate, there's one thing to advocate, anybody can go and advocate, but just because you're advocating doesn't necessarily mean you're being heard. Sometimes you're being tolerated. But as you build those relationships, so I've been really, pleased to work with the team and Link, especially watching what you've done, just to sincerely earn that respect of a lot of the folks over there at the county, and just watching that sometimes if it's that handwritten letter or that phone call, the personalization, and then if it's bringing the folks over to Crossvines, all those things help, because I also have seen in other communities that I do some work in where they say, well, hey, let's look at what Poolesville's doing, and they have a much larger population. They have very strong advocates, very influential members of the community, and I happen to be on an email because I'm in that community doing some work. And I thought it was really nice to see, hey, well, let's look what Poolesville's doing. But I also think it's really important that we continue to do the things that we do, because I know that there's limitations on funding, and I know that there are other people who we're all fighting for the same pot, but the strategy that's used to build those relationships so people really know who you are, not that you're someone just asking for something, but they know who you are, and then doing the awareness piece. Like when we had, not this past breakfast, but the one before that, highlighting some of the medical needs in the Western region was an eye-opener. And then even what we did just Saturday, although it wasn't a fair access function, but even for me, being out here for 10, 11, 12, however long we've been here, I never knew about the graveyard over in Martinsburg, and there's so much richness and untold stories. And I think that as we continue to build those partnerships, those relationships, I look at, I think it's March 15th, there's an event that's going to happen with the Historic Melodies talking about the Rosenwald schools. And I think if more people know the significant role that Poolesville has played in Montgomery County, we would get more support as well. But I think, Link, you're doing a great job with leading those, leading the team. So I want to say thank you, and I'm glad to be able to work with you.
Thanks. Actually, on the 15th, it's interesting, those kind of examples, those opportunities are ways you can get them to come out here. So Marilyn Balcom, we let her know about it. Lorianne Sales, I think both of them are probably going to come, and I think Michelle Whitaker, who's with Will Chawando's staff, is probably going to come as well. So that's another example. We can use the bridges we have with other groups in Poolesville to actually get them to come out and visit, and they're coming out for that event. So that'd be neat.
And then I'll just add on too, but I think if some of the work I've been able to participate in with Fair Access has opened up some doors where I can go out and build relationships with other folks around the county to help educate about Poolesville. And then that helps, because I think when you are a smaller group, it's great to have allies who will speak up for you even when you're not there, when your neck is on the chopping block, right? In terms of, well, hey, if we cut them, how much fight are we going to get? But when you got other people around, say, well, not them, you leave them alone. Hey, I know this person, and they're really working hard. You can't leave those behind. And so I think that that's been good, even to the point, I'll share this in the most humble way. I know recently, you might hear about it at some point, but most recently, I was asked to work with the Montgomery County chapter of the Maryland Municipal League and serve as the vice president, because the person in that position did not win their election, so they lost their election. And so I'll be helping out where I can in that capacity. But in terms of advocacy, always saying, okay, now how do we help? If I do this, how can we leverage those relationships to advocate for Poolesville? So I'm following your lead, watching you.
You've done a great job already, Ed. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, you've done wonderful. All right, guys, good stuff. Anybody else, anything for Link?
No,
Nope, nothing?
all I would say is thank you very much. I mean, all you guys, Fair Access people, are doing great work. I mean, it shows, and please continue. I sent an email to this board. I don't think you were on there, Link, but one simple request I had was that when you guys take up a new issue, that we talk about it here, because, you know, there's commissioner representation on that board and funding, and it's just a formality probably. I can't imagine you would ever do anything that, we wouldn't all agree with anyway, but yeah, thanks for the great work.
Yeah, on that point, Martin, you're right, the bylaws, and that's one of the reasons I sent this to you with all the projects we've got in it. My assumption is, once you read this and you approve the budget, that also means you approve the projects that we got coming in the year, so I agree with that, though. Certainly, White's Fair is an example. That wasn't on our agenda, and we had to, make sure you guys were, and you were supportive. All the guys helped a lot on that, and that's an example, so I agree with that.
And I really appreciated, Jim, you sending out the charter for it. My understanding is the mission of Fair Access Committee is fairly broad. Any access equity related issue for Poolsville and the surrounding areas is part of that charter. So I think exactly what you're doing, Link, like publicly, sharing as we discuss things in the Fair Access and decide this is something that we think we should move forward with, then bringing it to the commissioners and saying, hey, this is what we're thinking of doing next. That sounds right. Like that's the process? Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Good stuff. Thanks, Link. Very good. Okay, that's it for tonight. No, I'm just kidding you. I know you guys are here. No, I know you would be. Our two signed up speakers for tonight. Sandy and Dave, come on up and do your Riverworks grant request. We appreciate it. Thank you. Identify yourself as Poolsville residents and owners. You own a house here.
I wanted to thank you guys for giving us the opportunity to even start this project, Riverworks itself. I mean, by making available that building, you started the balls in motion. I think Link and Ed made the case for me of why we're doing this and what roads we're going down. I think both of them talked about advocacy and for the county and such, but I think also with that is partnerships and showing others, the county, the state, whoever, the tourists, that you have a bunch of groups and a whole community willing to get together and do things like the cemetery, like the Poolsville Day events. And then we'll do for ourselves if you don't want to help us. I think that goes a long way to prove that we're worth investing in. So that's the approach I take with Riverworks. Riverworks is going to be another avenue, just like opening the ferry, just like Cross Vines, just like Historic Medley District. We're going to show people that we're going to do for ourselves, and we're going to be a really tight community, and we're going to have events, and they should join us. The grant that we asked for, it did state a dollar figure. It was $10,000 we're asking for. It is less important that the dollar value, because we're there's a lot of groups needing money in town. There's WAMCO, there's everybody, the seniors, and we don't want to pull money away from them if we can help it. But we do want a strong voice from you guys saying that you fully support what we're doing and what we want to do, and that it comes down to money. It comes down to saying, okay, we'll give them this much because we fully support them. And I think that's where we got to go with it.
And to clarify, the support helps with other funding. We're pursuing other grants from
Exactly.
the state, the federal grants, the county.
Right.
There's, and yeah, so, yes, exactly. I
Right,
mean, they
and-
just want to know that you guys, like what we're doing
We're
and
not-
support
right.
it, so, and, yeah. So,
And as far as, you mentioned something about standalone events. We have one coming up
yeah.
in June 10th. We're having a very large ag reserve type event at the church. But I'm calling it the church for now, and that's not a real name, I don't think. It could be, but at Riverworks, at the
At
new Riverworks.
Maybe.
So,
Yes, so, yeah, it
So
may
we
remain
hear.
a church.
so we hear.
There's no evidence.
There's no evidence of that.
There's no marker there. Yes. Yeah, so actually, yeah, we're planning a June 10, called Taste of Riverworks. Yeah, but it will involve, we're gonna have plein air painters around sites in the area.
In the ag reserve, all
But
around.
also in Poolsville, I think we're gonna paint Martin's house if he'll let us. Yeah.
He is?
And then gather
Heard
so
of a
we'll have
project.
bus tours to those sites and then gather everyone to the
Riverworks.
church to see the pastor. And,
But we have-
auction off the wet paint, and have, Hope Garden will have a silent auction, we'll have performances on this stage
Essence
that we're
Dance
building.
Studio, and
Yeah.
there'll be bands, et cetera, et cetera.
And so Riverworks is actually, I know, it was really exciting listening to you guys. I mean, part of our planning is to do a lot of storytelling, and to really celebrate sense of place where we are through our programming. If you'll notice as it's starting to roll out that, we have a series called the Storytelling Series. The first speaker is Tony Cohen. He's going to, and we're also doing a series called The Nature Observer, and I think it's similar to our event. There'll be plein air activities at various sites in the area, to really celebrate place and community. And of course, the freaking thrift shop has so much history. I mean, it's a novel or a series in itself, so it'll be
Right.
fun to, explore those and tell them. And again, it's just kind of all about community and stuff. So I don't know. I think we should get part of Fair Access's budget.
I think so.
really.
That's the
But-
budget we want to go after.
No, anyway.
He doesn't-
Do you want to raise
he's
the
not
number
paying attention.
we're asking for?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
apparently.
He's writing the newspaper story and talking about your,
Our event.
The,
trying to get more money.
Advertise that free.
The planning of the building has started, in case you were interested. The civil engineers are working with our setbacks and getting those all together so that they can come to you guys and get those fully approved. And the architect has been signed up, and he's got my model to go after, the drawing that I've done.
Did I see that you've already done groundbreaking for the stage?
I have began what I'm calling a
A
temporary
ground
outside
level
stage.
That's not gonna be the permanent stage.
That's not,
It's gonna be a temporary.
that will be a stage in the landscape, but the main stage will be inside and out, and those doors will open up, so you'll have the building will be the stage.
But yeah, this is a way to use the property.
This is a
until
way to
then.
get on the property and have some events and get some energy going over there.
Yeah, and
get-
we're partnering with the Essence Dance Studio. They're building the platform for the dancers so that
So it'll be a sprung floor.
Sprung
And
floor.
it may, as far as Poolsville being the up-and-coming place, it may be one of the only outdoor sprung floors in
Right.
Montgomery County.
So we're gonna have
Yeah.
like Alvin Ailey here for sure.
Yeah,
What is a sprung floor?
Sprung floor is, okay, you have a stage, you have a hard platform. This is basically two pieces of plywood with a rubber gasket in between that will flex when the dancers land. That's,
Less injury to the.
right, that's one of their biggest complaints about the stage now, is that that's a concrete floor and it's very dangerous, and it hurts probably. So, again, it's a way for us to partner with everybody, Essence and UPN, we're gonna be, partnering with them and we're open to all partnerships.
Every group that has initials in Poolsville.
We should, right.
Yes.
Understood.
H-
Lumco, HPT, right?
Locals, right.
Yeah, exactly. You got them all.
Initial.
Well, LOC.
Yeah, locals,
And
right.
I just want to add that I think this is the connection between people, history, land, and art
Is everything.
is everything. And I think it's something that is a bigger movement that we're also part of, that this next month at the Kennedy Center, they're having what they're calling, I think it's the River Run Festival, which is all
They stole
art
our
performance pieces centered on
Right.
our connection with land and history. And I've been in connection with one of the performance companies that their project is called Fairy Tales. And she said, well, we don't actually have a real ferry that we're focusing on. And I said, well, let me tell you about White's Ferry. And I sent her a whole list of things that Riverworks is doing, things that the surrounding area is doing. And I think what we are doing as a community, bringing those four things together.
Is bright enough for everybody to see. And they're-
Exactly.
they're
It's
starting
gonna
to
bring
see it,
people to this
you know,
area.
And, right, so.
So, love it.
And, you know, I feel like it's really turned the corner in the last 2 years that this town is really, they're coming out for every event, they're coming out, they're backing, they're supporting, they're helping, there's not as much tension, and it's a nice little town, and people are coming out with energy.
I think it's hard to overstate what you guys have done for, Poolsville economic development. I always tell people, like, I generally go in all these stores and I recognize, if I don't know the people, I recognize them, you see them around town. I go to locals and oftentimes it's people that are clearly from out of town. I see elected officials up there when we don't even invite them, and no one even knows they're going to be
And I
here.
think that goes to, it's the same thing as the movement that we're seeing. Locals was not built to be a restaurant or to be a moneymaker. It was built as a place. And it was built as a place where anybody can come in and sit around and do nothing, or eat or drink or say hi to the next guy, and to have conversations about difficult things and easy things and get things done. And I think it really has come around. And I agree. There are people from down county, politicians that are noticing Poolsville and coming out here and seeing that we're moving and we're going to go places, and they need to put their name on it.
I think that everything you're proposing sounds great, and it's going to do a lot for Poolsville. So, personally, I think that it's a fair ask that we put skin in the game. So, yeah, thank you.
Just vocally. Yeah.
All you're both doing.
Yeah, you
Thank
guys,
you.
the
Thank you.
investment, probably no two people have invested more in our downtown Poolsville zone as individuals than you guys
Thank you.
have.
Thank you.
And we appreciate it, and keep up the good work, and we'll keep figuring a way to make it happen.
We're going to make it happen.
Yeah,
Keep
good.
bringing those politicians out.
Yeah.
That's right.
So Wade, this is on our list for March 8th or whatever, 11th, I forget what day.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And I'll just throw my 2 cents in there. In addition to everything that Sarah was saying, I think about
10,000 we're looking for.
I hear you there. Well, if you think about it, 5 and times 2, I got 2%, 2, you get it. But on the serious side, I think about the wellness aspects as well, looking at all the western part of Montgomery County. So while we have a responsibility to Poolsville, but also think with Poolsville supporting fair access, and fair access really supporting western Montgomery County, that broader brush, and we look at that wellness, and there's something to be said about bringing folks from Barnesville and other areas in western Montgomery County outside as the weather's getting ready. We're getting ready to have a nice stretch, as we move into the spring and the summer, being able to help promote wellness for both our seniors, our young children, and everyone in between. So the things that you're doing, not just at Locals, but at Riverworks, it really helps to bring that true sense of community, which I think that will benefit from. And I do think is important for folks in the down county to come down and get some ideas, but to come down and be a part of a movement that's taking place in Poolsville. So thanks for all that
And
you
visit
do.
our new co-op.
Yeah, love that.
There it is. Even get, all right.
Your parking lot. Sorry about that. I forgot to mention that earlier.
Well, we've just
You
built a
mean-
platform for
You
it.
mean
Right.
the Jameson's backyard?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, let me clarify.
Yeah, for the co-op, yeah.
Thanks, guys, for a presentation. Again, thanks for all you do.
Thanks.
You've been amazing, and you can tell we all love what you guys are up to. So thank you. Keep up the good work, and we're your partners.
And see you tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Right. Okay, very good. So that's it for today's grant presentation section of the meeting. Fox Hunt Preserve Bond Release Request. Tom, if you want to come up, you can, but it looks like John's got it handled and ready to go.
All right. Kettler Four Lines has requested bond release on Fox Hunt Preserve. That's the old Bull U property for those who forgot. The Forest Conservation, they used afforestation on this project, which means they use the existing forest. We've inspected it. They maintained it and removed some of the invasive species from it. And that bond is in the sum of $5,250. It was bond number 4937. And then the sanitary sewer and also the water service has been installed. And we recommend that be reduced from $105,700 down to $26,425, which for the sewer, and for the water service it was $82,763, and we recommend down to $20,690.75. These will stay in place until the last home is constructed, and at that point we'll recommend it be converted over to a 1 year 25% hold on that for 1 year until that whole project's completed. Based on the values that we saw, based on the work that had been submitted, and the inspection of the site, we recommend the release of those bonds. So it's a release of bond 4937 for the afforestation, and bonds 4934 and 44935 for release to 25% on those two items.
Thanks, John. Gentlemen, can we do one motion for all these or not?
Sure.
Oh,
All right, I make a motion that we release bond number 4937 in the sum of $5,250. In addition, I make a motion that we reduce by 25% the current bond 4934.
Reduce to 25%. It's like reducing by 75%.
Yeah. Thank you, yes. 4934 from $105,700 to $26,425. And we reduce to 25% the current bond 44935 from $82,763 to $20,690.75.
very good. So do we have a second? Second from Jeff. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor to reduce, to finish off a bond, number 4937, and then to reduce two bonds to 25% of their current bond, number 4934 and 44935, from Martin, seconded by Jeff. Do we have any questions on this? None? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? None? Thank you, John. Appreciate the presentation. Tom, thanks for the good work over there. We appreciate it. Town manager's report.
Okay, had a good meeting with MDE today regarding PFAS. And it is, we've been calling back and forth and shooting emails back and forth, but finally we got everybody from the top of MDE's food chain, Raj Chawala, with the financing division, all the way down to the regional folks that come out and do inspections. And what we really wanted to get out of this was to be able to move forward with these filters on filter 3, on well number 3, without going through a whole construction review process, permitting fees, all this other stuff. And we accomplished that. They're gonna let us move forward and do a testing phase. Kathy, she already got it to me, put together a protocol for sampling for the well, and before what analytical data they're gonna need to let us go through that construction bidding process in the future. So that was a good call. Second thing we're doing, we're having a second company do well 2 and do it'd be a much smaller unit. The water won't go into the system, but it allows us not to sole source out. And so for the federal grant money, we need to do that. So we're kind of showing them the way to do it. We're the first ones in Maryland that they've been dealing with going through this right now. So they were like, okay, this is a great idea. Yes, do it this way. This is the best way to do it. And so they're letting us do it. So we're going to be able to move the ball forward pretty quickly here, it seems like.
Can I just ask you real quick, are you, in your dealings with these companies that make the filters, are you finding that the parts are available and like there's inventory?
Yeah, there's not much to them really, but really the important part is not the vessel itself, it's the media inside. And the technology that goes with that, and, the removal rate, and what other characteristics of the water are going to foul the media. So those are the things you're really testing for. So the filtration units themselves are, there's big tubes, and there's not much to it. There's no pumps in it because the pump from the well pushes the water through it.
Yeah.
There's sampling ports in it, so it's very simple, really.
Yeah, I didn't hear you very well, so the filter that we talked about during the last commissioners meeting, that's going to be added,
Same thing.
Yeah.
that's going to be added to well 2 or not well number 3?
3.
Well, for well 3 for right now, for the pilot test, but they're going to allow us to put it into the system. We'll have to run it for at least a week, probably 12 days, to be able to sample it to make sure that it is removing the PFAS, and then we can put it online. And they like the idea of that, running with the other well systems to see how long it's going to last. I mean, they're collecting, they want our data to, for their own purposes also, so.
But I just want to be clear, so in the last meeting, you said it might take 6 months
Yes.
of this testing to see if it's actually good enough to turn back into the, put it back online. Is that still the case?
Still the case, yes. Yes, we're still in a pilot study, yes. We have to prove that it works.
Okay. And then, like I said, I didn't hear you very well, but you were also going to request the approval from MDE to add it to the well.
Correct. Temporarily is what we're doing now, and so we got that permission already granted without going through a whole permitting and fee process. But we will have to request it officially when we install it permanently.
Okay. But we did get the approval to put it on the well number 3.
Yes.
Okay, so,
We're gonna move from a rental to a permanent piece if it works the way that everybody's
Yeah,
expecting it's
right,
gonna
right.
work.
what is the criteria for, does MDE establish a criteria for success? If it's 0, I guess that's great.
We as well as MDE will determine the success of it. I mean, it could be successful and every month you change the media out. For that's not successful. That's not, sustainable.
That would be
Because of the cost.
megabyte, yeah.
Yes. So it's a two-way street. It has to remove the PFAS, and it has to keep it below whatever regulations they are going to set. So that's the more important part, which they said is probably going to be single digits as far as an MCL is concerned. So,
And did you also mention, you also mentioned protocol for sampling? What does that look like?
so I've not reviewed it yet, but it's going to say exactly how often we're going to sample, from which ports we're going to sample from. So there's different ports. There's going to be a raw port. There's going to be a port in between because you have a filter here, water comes in, goes into the other filter, goes out. So there's a port in between. Because if you have breakthrough on this one here, you still have this filter here to capture anything that breaks through.
All right, next time I'll wear my hearing aid because I can't hear you very well.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, and when do all,
Determined by a scientist, by
Yes, yes,
the person who's designing the study.
yes.
and when do you expect this will start to happen?
I'm going to submit all the work plans and things tomorrow to MDE, so as soon as I turn it around, I think, what's the lead on those filters? 4 or 5 weeks, maybe, or? Yeah. They've been holding them for us because they know that we're pushing on this, so.
Okay.
And there's other places around the country that are trying to do the same thing,
Right.
and now you can't find the equipment or the filters.
Yeah, no, in fact, that was going to be my next question. Has any other municipality done this already and they know the results?
As far as MDE said in the meeting, they said no.
Oh, really? We're at the leading edge. Okay, great.
Also, too, Wade, if you don't mind, give the gang here the kind of the sequencing we talked about today. How does this go with wells 2 and 3, and what gets brought online, what doesn't? How does it? What's our timing?
So well 3 is going to come online if we get these, as soon as we get these filters on, it's going to be pumping into the system. Well 2 is going to go through it's a smaller unit, so we will just have like a tap coming off of the main, going in it, testing that one. The water quality is a little bit different in well 2, so it's a good thing to have a separate test for that anyways. We'll blow the rust off. That will not go into the system. One thing, we're still in cold weather, and they don't have, this company doesn't have large vessels enough to experiment on a full scale.
Okay.
Which is what we did for 7 and 9 when we did the alpha media remediation.
But I thought you said during this testing period, well 3 would not be online.
No, they're going to allow it, yes. That came out of today's meeting. It will, yes.
I'm having difficulty hearing.
They're saying that the media is proven to the point that they're comfortable with well 3 going back online
Really?
as soon as the media is adopted and put into place.
Permanently or temporarily?
It's temporary at
Rented.
this point.
Oh,
Yeah,
interesting. Okay.
it's a rental. But yes, so that's, yeah, and that means that, but they're doing that because they're confident that this media has been a proven media, at least for being able to deal with this.
Yeah. Activated charcoal is exactly,
Yeah.
It's a known media.
So well 3 goes back online immediately as soon as it's outfitted.
Well,
And then well 2 is not going to go online, but it's going to have this, because of the restrictions of how well 2 is created,
weather-wise, yeah.
that it cannot, that we don't need it to.
No, and it's going to have a mini filtration unit to do the pilot test on with that media, and they'll be able to extrapolate the data to determine how long it's going to last and how good it's going to do.
How many are we talking, like a little Brita filter you pour water in?
No, I think they're 4 foot tall and like this big around, so.
Like 10 Britas all lined
Well, that's all they can get their hands on.
well, on my home, I have an activated charcoal. It's about this tall, about that wide. It's down in the basement where the water comes in. Yeah.
So if well 2 doesn't work out, we can take our water.
Hook up a garden.
There we go.
Hey, keep going, buddy.
Okay, I was going to announce some stuff about the recreational camp. We've not been registered with the state, and it's come to our knowledge that we need to register our camp with the state. So along with that, pardon? Yes, Stevens Park Camp, yes. So with that comes some fees that's going to be accumulated on, our expense that we look at each year. And it's going to be criminal background checks for staff, health and mental hygiene background checks, fingerprints. A camp health supervisor must be available, so we're trying to work with the elementary school nurse to see if she can be available. 2 adults have to be certified CPR. Campers may not be admitted to camp, and school-age members may not work at camp without required immunizations, so we have to check some shot records. And then specific regulations for going to the pool, so we have to rent a bus also, which is probably about another $4,000 also. So we're really kind of scrambling, trying to get it all together. Kathy's been working on it for a while. She'll submit that stuff, and then it takes 6 weeks to get an answer back. And then she submits the second part, another 6 weeks. So we're kind of getting to the point that we're getting pretty close to the line where we can start fingerprinting people, and we may not actually have a camp this year. So,
We may not, you're saying?
Oh, my.
yes, it's down to the wire right now.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
But
So we
she's,
didn't do those criminal background checks before?
we have, yes. We did the fingerprinting too, so we've done some of the stuff, but now it's, goes to a federal level also, and that's what takes the longer time. So, just giving everybody a heads up right now, not sure how it's all gonna play out yet.
But I remember seeing on the electric sign that registration was open
Yes,
for the kids.
yes, we're going through the motions right now,
Okay. All right.
hoping that it's all gonna work out.
Yeah, okay.
So is your bottleneck on the federal level or state?
It's a little bit of both. Yeah, getting the answers back from the state at that level, but then there's just 8-week time frame for the background checks. And so we need to start doing it now for the camp, almost, you know?
Is there like a date that you guys have in your mind that we need to either just, if things are still in the air, we need to say yes or no? Because, you know, I worry that people are gonna like count on this and then other camps fill up and they're kind of
Right,
in
within
a
the
bad way.
next couple of weeks, we're gonna have an answer.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll narrow it down. Okay, any more questions on that?
No, thank you.
Okay. We had our meeting with Brooks Martin that Martin announced at the last meeting. Niles both and myself. He gave us some good ideas of things to look at and we talked about doing some analytical things on the site and see, you know, just where people are having either trouble, what are they searching for, or what are they having difficulties finding? Because it can be a cumbersome website unless you're in it all the time, and it's like, hey, this is great. But if you're not, and he said that's very common, and, you know, we walked through a bunch of things. Niles is he has a list of different stuff he's working on, and we're gonna reach back out to him in a couple of weeks, and, you know, he said he's all in to help us whatever he can. So it was a productive meeting. And then also to touch on Kevin Schramm stepping down. He was a good addition to the planning commission. We will be doing advertising. So hopefully get some volunteers coming in, and we'll have to interview those folks. Planning commission for that particular one, we'll do interviews, and those will be a closed session, most likely prior to a meeting. So I'll keep everybody tuned up with that.
What's the time frame on that? It's probably not gonna be anytime super soon, because he doesn't leave until,
April 1st.
oh, it's April 1st, okay.
Right, so you only have 2 meetings, really.
Yeah,
Right.
okay.
We might have to twist his arm, make him stay for a couple more meetings, you know, see what happens. And then today at 2 o'clock, we did have our trash contracts. We had 6 companies bid on the project. We're breaking them all down right now. There was a lot of alternate proposals and bids in there, so once we have that broken down, that'll be coming forward also next month. So it was a good turnout.
Just to refresh my memory, was it a two-stream? Requesting for two-stream?
We asked for 2 times the trash pickup a week, 1 times the trash pickup, dual stream and single stream.
Okay. Oh, we got
So
all
it was,
bases
there was a whole lot to break down in there.
Basically, the plan was to get as many bids as we could from companies that would also give as many options as
Oh, right,
we
right.
need
Yeah.
or would like to see.
Right. Thank you.
And you feel satisfied that at least that's what it looks like for now? We had enough pieces come in for that?
We did, yes. We will go through, and there's going to be some calls back to verify certain information, and some of the bids were, it's only one piece, no, wasn't that bad, but almost.
Okay, I have a question for you too. This will be funny. It's an 8:30 question. How many bids of, one of the biggest things that we buy over the course of a 3 or 5 year period, how many bids came in today at the deadline? 3 out of 6?
They trickled in all day.
Did anybody come in early?
Yeah, there was a couple here this morning, but
Okay.
most of the people came in around 1 o'clock, and then they just sat in here until 2 o'clock.
So they
to wait.
submitted at 1 and
Sat
then
here in this
opened at
meeting
2.
room. Yeah, they were all had a little conference going over here.
I'm sure they did. I'm sure they did. Yeah, it's like old home week for those guys because they all work for each other.
They all knew each other.
Yeah, they all knew each other. That's okay. All right.
Do you have a sense of how many other, is having 2 trash pickups a week common? Is that?
No, it's not.
in other communities?
No, 1 is, everywhere I've been, it's only been 1.
That's what I've heard as well.
Okay.
And presumably one would be a little bit cheaper than 2.
It is.
Yeah.
Not half.
No, not half, I'm sure.
No, because you still have your tipping fees, you know. so.
Yeah. We'll have a great chance to talk about it, and that'll be a lively meeting. So, and staff will come out with something in writing beforehand, so we have a chance to review. Anything else on the town manager report, Wade?
That is it.
Town attorney, anything for us, brother?
I do not have anything. It's great to see you all in person, 2 meetings in a row.
Yes, thank you. Make note, right? Make note. Make note. All right. Very good. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Second from Ed. All in favor? Aye. Motion passed. We're adjourned.